150 miles north of Miami. A police sting operation with crack cocaine the target. The police watched the crack buys being made, then moved in quickly for the arrest. But watch.
Here we go. Okay, he threw something over here. How many did he get?
How can you do that with your little girl in the car?
A 5-year-old little girl in the car. The man was the girl's father. He's under arrest tonight, but another example of how compelling the crack cocaine epidemic really is.
Those are the drug stories that are making headlines today. This story, also about drugs, is so commonplace as to be a footnote every day. New York police say 4 men on a street corner in Brooklyn opened fire on a crowd of people. 5 were wounded. 1 man lay dead. The gunman fled on foot, disappearing back into the street life. Police say it was drug-related, but they have neither suspects nor specific motive.
As reporter Abby Goldman has the story.
With hidden microphones strapped to their bulletproof vests and fluorescent powder sprinkled on money they use for drug buys, county undercover drug task force agents and agents from the East Palo Alto Police Department got ready for East Palo Alto tonight. This is the first time the San Mateo County Drug Task Force has swept into this town to take care of crack dealers on the streets.
The problem has become more blatant, and we received a request from the city of East Palo Alto to assist them with these problems that they're having with these street corner sales.
In fact, street violence due to crack buys gone bad here has gotten much worse. During 1 week alone last month, there were 2 murders, 4 stabbings, and a shooting. And last weekend, there were 2 more attempted murders, all apparently drug-related. Police say this suspect was standing in the middle of the street, flagging down undercover buyers to sell them crack cocaine. Neighbors say it happens all the time, everywhere.
People getting out in cars, stopping cars in front of your homes. Kids are out here playing. Somebody liable to come out their yard, out their car with a gun. Next thing you know, some kid is shot behind somebody's foolishness for this crack.
What do you think about the cops coming down here?
I love it. I'm all for it, because I have a son. I have to look out for my son.
A dozen people were arrested by the task force last night for allegedly selling crack in East Palo Alto. They hope to nab 12 more tonight and more the night after that until the dealers get the message.
What we hope to do is, by removing some of the traffickers that are off the street, we would like to have the people that are dealing drugs to be more afraid of the police, more afraid of apprehension and conviction.
In East Palo Alto, Abby Goldman, Channel 5, Eyewitness News.
The call rang out, a cop shot.
Police are calling 19-year-old Todd Scott the trigger man who executed a rookie cop, a cop whose murder turned the battle against drugs into a crusade. 22-year-old officer Eddie Byrne was sitting in his patrol car last Friday, guarding the home of a man who had had his life threatened and his house firebombed for turning in drug dealers. In the dead of the night, another car with 4 occupants pulled up, and Officer Byrne was shot in the head.
We believe the 4 were acting on the directions of a high-level drug dealer.
Some say the drug kingpins rule the streets of South Jamaica, Queens, but the killing galvanized both the community and the cops. A $30,000 reward grew to $130,000, and Friday morning police announced the arrest of Todd Scott and Scott Cobb on charges of murder. A 3rd man turned himself in. Further arrests are expected.
Drug dealers wanted to send a message. Well, we have a message for the drug dealers. We will spare no expense to track down anyone who threatens or injures a police officer, a witness, a juror.
As the suspects were taken away, a handful of neighborhood residents cheered their arrest, chanting justice for Eddie, the slain officer. A week after the killing, police still have the scene of the crime closed off. They are taking no chances of there being any more executions. The man who had been getting police protection is now getting more of it. A detective answers the door. The house has become both a fortress and a symbol of all-out war. Jeannie Moe, CNN, New York.
Valuables. NBC's Lisa Myersnot on the trail of cocaine, cash, and hot cars in the drug trade.
In Los Angeles, police say Colombian drug dealers prefer BMWs, female dealers like Mustangs, and the rest go for Porsches or Mercedes. In Washington, D.C., authorities say the drug dealer's car of the year is the Range Rover. In Miami, no drug kingpin would be caught in anything less than a Mercedes with black windows.
I've had customers come into my place, and they've come in and said, we've got a kilo of cocaine. We would like to give you that cocaine for this car.
But most often, drug dealers pay cash. That's why Congress passed a law requiring car dealers and other businesses to report to the IRS all transactions of $10,000 or more in cash.
There is a form to fill out, anybody putting down more than $10,000 for their car.
But law enforcement authorities estimate that only a small fraction of these deals are ever reported. So the IRS is cracking down. Criminal investigations are underway in a dozen cities, targeting businesses believed to be quietly profiting from drug money.
There are people out there that are letting drug dealers and others use their ill-gotten gain to buy cars and boats and things of that nature, and I think the public is really getting incensed.
An IRS agent recently visited a Ford dealer in Baltimore as part of a nationwide effort to remind businessmen that if they don't report cash deals, they could go to jail.
There's nothing illegal about dealing in currency, but we find that large amounts of currency, suitcases full of $20,000 and $30,000 and $40,000, quite often has an illegal source.
The overall strategy is to track drug kingpins through their expensive tastes, as evidenced by these recent drug seizures.
You'll never find them by cocaine, but you'll always find them by the money, because that's the end result, and that's what they're in it for.
Authorities hope ultimately to nail drug bosses on other charges, such as tax evasion.
We may not catch them in the act of dealing drugs, but if we can show that they didn't report the income and pay the tax, then we can send them to prison for a tax crime.
In the meantime, federal authorities hope to make it riskier for drug dealers to enjoy all that money. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.